Education anxiety. I bet it's not something you hear discussed a lot, but I bet it's something that a lot of people you know, possibly including yourself, have experienced. Educational trauma, stress, anxiety, even doubting your self-worth because of education are all real things, and they affect us in different ways during school and oftentimes even after graduation. So let's talk about it. First, I want to talk about understanding what education is. Since we were kids, we were going to school, we were getting an education, but that wasn't really our choice. We were just going to go. We didn't really understand what the choice of education really was. Not everyone gets the opportunity to go. Some people can't afford it. Some people don't go. So what are they really missing? What does education give you? In its most basic form, education provides you the opportunity to learn and expand your network. Those are the two categories that I've simplified into what education gives you. So the reason why I bring this up as my first point is because we can easily get into the habit of forgetting that that is what education is. And even though those things are not small, those two things are very, very, very important. It's very easy to think that they are bigger than they actually are. I also want to have a disclaimer for this video just to say I'm not encouraging anyone to drop out. If anything, this video should encourage you to do the opposite, but I will be encouraging you in this video to see how much you contribute to your education. It's not the school versus you, it's you plus the school. What can you make, you know? When you clarify the two main goals of education, that will help you realize a couple things. One, as long as you're doing those two things, you are doing something right. If you are learning, but you're not the tippity top of your class, you are still doing something right. If you are expanding your network, trying new things, meeting new people, but you're not like, I don't know, Mr. or Mrs. Popular, you're still doing something right. You are still getting from education what you're supposed to get from it. Another thing it'll help you realize is that there are other paths in life to take. This is where I know the African parents, the immigrant parents are going to go crazy. They've been preaching that education is everything, but the truth is we are in 2025. AI is insane. Technology, internet is insane. There are immense amount of ways to learn and expand your network now. School is just the oldest and most solidified option because it's been in business for so long. And then lastly, another thing it'll help you realize is that school is not the end all or be all. That's another thing people forget. People who have been at the top of their class, people who are Mr. and Mrs. Popular, they can still go on and often do go on to just live normal lives and have nothing change for them, even with their experience in school. Millions of people have graduated before you, and millions of people are going to graduate after you. Not all of them go on to change the world and become multi-bajillionaires, right? So that is a hint that there is something missing. Education is not just all. It's a means to learn and a means to expand your network. What you do with it is a whole different story. So my next point is that there is life after school. After you understand what education is, I want you to start looking around at everyone around you. All the people that you love, your parents, siblings, everyone that you love has been through school too. When you talk to them, do you ask them about school? Do you ask them about their grades? Do you ask them about their GPA? Do you ask them if they were prom king or queen? Maybe you do, I don't know. But likely the answer is no, and that is my next point. There is life after school. And perhaps what you do after school is more important than what you do during school. Perhaps it's different for everyone's story. And I think this is an important part because people just forget about that when they're in school, wrap their head around this idea that school is all that matters, school is all that matters. And that's when you leave school, you start realizing how many other things were important to your education as a whole, not just school. And my 2 points for this is kind of just that. One, most schools don't care about your life after school. So take that information with a grain of salt. How much are you sacrificing for school? How is this impacting your life? Is it positive? Is it negative? Because after the school accepts you, gets you through those years, and says bye to you on graduation day, they wipe their hands clean of you. You are no longer their problem. But because it's your life, you're still with yourself for the rest of your life. So just remember that there's life after school, and that is something you're going to have to deal with. And a big reason why I make this point is that your health matters. If there is life after school, right, as we've agreed, but during school, all you thought about was that exam, that test, being the top. So you made so many poor choices to your health. Guess who's going to have to deal with that after school? You. And guess who's not going to have to deal with that after school? Your institution, your university. They're not going to have to deal with that. But that school is going to get to keep high graduation percentages. So just make sure you remember there is life after school. If you give your all to school, what will you have left after? If you give your all to school, then you have to join the workforce right away. Will you even be ready? Will you even be able to? And then the next point with the fact that there is life after school is just that there are so many ways to change. In one of my previous videos, I interviewed some men at my school, Stanford University, and when I asked them for advice, one of them said, people say that life is short, but life is also actually pretty long. And that stuck with me because I really, really feel like that's true. For a majority of the time, school does decide what you do with your life. You know, you just go straight from elementary school to high school, then high school to college. But then after that, I want you guys to know the paths you can take in life really are endless. You can start doing something, you can do something else, you can, so even if you go to college, drop out, go to college, graduate, and don't get a job, go to college, graduate, get a job. Everyone can mix and match and do whatever, Life is the craziest thing ever. Like, people literally go from living in a box to living in a mansion. People literally go from, having nothing to the opposite, and from having everything to the opposite. So there is no guarantee that one thing is going to get you to the next place, that one degree is going to get you to the next place. There is no guarantee. School prepares you for a possibility of a certain lifestyle, but there are so many ways to live. So if you're beating yourself up and you're feeling really down that you didn't get a certain thing of a certain class of a certain grade, guys, literally in 5 years, which is another thing that they mentioned in the advice video, literally in 5 years, possibly in 2 years, possibly in 1, none of that's gonna matter. And that doesn't mean don't try your best. I will always promote on this channel trying your best and working your hardest with what you're given, where you're at, always. But if with what you're given, where you're at, doesn't match up to this person, doesn't match up to the person next to you, that's okay. That's not a guarantee that they're going to do better than you. That's not a guarantee that you're going to do better than them. Life and school are two different things. So after school, there is life, which will never just have a single recipe. My next point is that 90% of education is the people you meet. When you compare the amount of things you learn from talking to people, developing new experiences, to the things you learn in class, let's be real, y'all. Like, comment down below if I'm wrong. You're comparing which one of those things you used more. Be so for real if it was really lecture that changed your life or saved your life. Everything about life is people. Your teachers are people, your tutors are people, your classmates are people. The person revising your dissertation is a person. The person accepting you into your master's program is a person. 90% of education is about the people that you'll meet. And tying this back to the last point, life after school is made up of those people that you met. Think about your weddings, think about your anniversaries and stuff. It's, oh, we met back in class of 98, we met back in class of 81. All of it, it's so beautiful. Sometimes I just sit at these reunions and I think it's so beautiful that school was able to bring these people together. I bet they're not thinking about some class, some GPA, some degree. I bet they don't even remember their GPA, but they remember each other. They remember the way they made each other laugh, the way they made each other feel. They remember each other, and that's so beautiful that after all these years, they'll come back and celebrate each other or get married to each other. When you think of who's filling these wedding halls, who's filling these birthday parties, baby showers, it's the people you went to school with, the relationships that you were able to form. So please, please, please do not neglect that part of school, because then you will neglect literally half of the reason why school is important, if not 90%, which is what I personally believe. So yes, school might be hard, school might be tough, but let it add people to your life. Let it bring a community of people that you feel powerful about, that you feel loved by, that you feel happy about. If you do that, if you graduate and you have done that, I don't think you could ever say that you regret going to school, or that school wasn't probably the happiest time of your life. Genuinely, your grades are really important. They'll never not be important when you're looking at education, when you're in school, but with everything, there's a balance. Once you get to the point where you realize you are really sacrificing everything, like so much, friendships and all of your social life for perfection, I need you to reevaluate what you're doing, reevaluate if it's worth it, and remember why you're at school in the first place, okay? The hardest part about doing school is doing it alone. I'm going to say that again. The hardest part about doing school is doing it alone. Now, my last point is if it's not helping you grow or develop, you're doing school wrong. Not as a student, as a person. I need you to constantly think about what it is that you hold apart from school. Perfect GPA, perfect grades, perfect exam scores aside, what is it that you hold? If the answer is nothing, then that tells you all you need to know. You have made school everything. You have made school your personality. And that is where the lack of confidence comes. It's hard to burn out. It's hard to feel that depression and like just overwhelming stress that comes from school when you remember how great of a person, how unique of a person you are, and when you remember what you bring to the table, right? So a lot of people out here think that all they bring to the table is a perfect GPA, is good grades. And if they don't have that, they don't even want to come to the table. They're embarrassed. That's not right. You bring so much to the table. Figure out your passions, figure out your hobbies, figure out the thing that makes you unique. And what a better place to learn that, which is what school is supposed to do, than during your time at school, right? You need to build your confidence not around school or numbers that can go away and people will forget about, because they will, but based on the change that you want to make, the type of person that you are becoming. If you figure this out even after school, this will help you. After school, after graduation, if something goes wrong in your life, you will remember what you bring to the table. You will remember what you have to offer. If you don't get that job that everyone wants to get, that your parents wanted you to get, that your siblings wanted you to get, that everyone was hoping and waiting for you to get, you can still walk out with your head high. You can still remember who you are. And another point to this that I have is that you are not developing if you're just doing what everybody else wants you to do, baby. I mean, some people might not want to hear this, but you are not developing if you are just doing what your parents told you. You are not developing if you are just doing what your relatives, your grandparents told you to do. If you are doing something without knowing why you're doing it, without knowing if you want to do it, you are staying stagnant mentally and as a person. So what am I trying to get at? When you're in school, you should be piquing your curiosity as many times as possible. You should be thinking, oh, is this what I'm interested in? Is this what I'm interested in? Let me try this at. Is this what I like? Is this what I don't like? Is this what I could do for the rest of my life? Is this what I can't do? All of that entire journey goes away if you're just following what someone else told you to do. Now, they could be telling you to do it for more than one reason. A big one is money, obviously, but that doesn't mean you lose sight of what you actually enjoy doing. If they want you to make money, fine. So that means you have to make money and enjoy doing what you have to do. The second you let go of the enjoy doing what you want to do part, a lot of things can go wrong on the inside that they will never be impacted by, that they will never understand or even feel. You know what I mean? We get told to do this, and this. This will be good. This will be good. All of that stuff, right? What will be good is you being good, okay? If you need money to be good, keep that in mind, but don't let that be the determining factor for everything. If you need stability to be good, keep that in mind, but don't let that be the determining factor for everything. Because at the end of the day, you can get that degree, but if you don't know yourself, if you never developed as a person, a lot of other things can still go wrong, okay? You don't want to put your everything into something for the sole purpose of getting one out of the many, many, many things that you need to feel good. Okay? Never be scared to blaze your own path, because then you'll learn so much about yourself. And if you're already past this point, never forget who you are. Working those jobs, the jobs that, parents encourage us to work, and they are great jobs. They're encouraging us for a reason. But if you genuinely said, hopefully, this would make me miserable, do you still want me to do that? A lot of them would say no. But we forget that part. We think we just have to make them happy no matter what it takes. If they loved you and you were miserable doing that, I doubt they would still tell you to continue doing that. So just don't forget about the person you are and developing that. So if you're experiencing burnout, if you're experiencing all these things, one, like we started talking about, mentally, you're not thinking about school the right way. School is just a means to an end, and it does end at some point, and there is so much life afterwards. So two, remember that there's life afterwards, because your health, if it significantly suffers, that will affect you for the rest of your life, but your institution, your school is going to be fine. And then 3, remember that the hardest part about doing school is doing it alone. People are your lifeline. So meet them, use them, need them, love them, okay? Now, my last point, if it's not helping you grow or develop, you're doing school wrong. So that is it for this video, you guys. Honestly, I don't know if this is a hot take. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, but I think this is such an important conversation, especially because my audience is a lot of people who are in college or in high school and stuff like that. These are the stuff you have to start thinking about. The pressure to make a lot of money, the pressure to make your parents proud is there and will forever be there. You can't forget who is the one going to these classes. You can't forget who is the one waking up at 9:30. I had a 9:30 class today, you guys. It was far too. So like the class itself is far, which means I have to wake up way earlier. And it's just like, who is not eating well enough because they're studying? Who is pulling all-nighters? It's you, okay? So make sure that you don't forget about yourself in the process. You are not a slave to school. You are not a slave to school, okay? If you drop everything, drop your personality, drop your goals, your dreams in life to get the degree, it will never, ever be worth it, because things that make your heart happy are things you should never, ever, ever forget, okay? Easier said than done. If you guys want more videos on this or specific topics that you want me to talk about, I would love to do more. I love my couch talks. They're so cutesy to me. So I hope to see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.